And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
The Great Heartland Hauling Company, a cubes and cards game, it says on the box. Well, that's at least a very realistic name. And this is about delivering cubes from one part of the board to another part of the board. And it doesn't have anything to do with medieval Europe or the Mediterranean Ocean. All right. In fact, let's do with trucks. It's about time. I still don't understand why more games can't have this delivery theme in modern era. But whatever. Let's take a look at this game. It's a very small game, and yet there's a lot jammed in this box. Mr. Kirkman has done an excellent job at utilizing box space. In Great Heartland, the first thing you do is you set up the map. And you put the cards in this formation, and you put your trucks here on the station in the middle. But really, you can put them any way you want. There's a little card that comes with the game that lets you put them in all different kinds of places. There's even extra cards that the game comes with, and that you can set up in different ways. And each of these cards can be turned over. This is like, there's like a simple side, and then there's a side that has something odd to it. Like, for example, this has closed signs, which means you can't travel from this card to the card above it, and so on and so forth. Now, what you are trying to do in this game is you're trying to take your truck and pick up goods and deliver them to another spot. So it doesn't really matter so much about the goods. They're all the cubes and they're different types. You can see there's pigs and things, but your goal is to make money. What you have here is a truck set of cards that are put together, and one thing is used to keep score. One cube is used to keep score, and as you pick up cubes, they're put in your truck here at the top, which has room for 8 cubes. So your goal here is to drive around in your truck and deliver these. So on your turn, you have to move your truck, and you move your truck to orthogonal spots like this, moving around. But there's 2 ways to move your truck. One of those ways is to, for each space you move, you can spend $1, which is an expensive way, or you can use fuel cards. There's a deck of cards that is set off to the side, and this deck of cards allows you to pick up goods and move. There are fuel cards, so you can spend fuel cards instead of spending money. So there is 1, 2, and 3 fuel cards, and you can spend those, and then you move that exact amount of distance in your truck. Once you get to your location, you can pick up goods. To pick up goods in a specific location, let's say I want to pick up corn here, I would have to play a corn card for each corn that I plan to pick up. And if I wanted to pick up pigs, veggies, or cows, I would use cards for those also. And so you're drawing cards in your hand, trying to get the cards that you need. When your turn's over and you draw, you can draw from these face-up cards or from the top of the deck here. And it's made up of the different gas cards and the different goods. Once you have the goods in your truck, you want to go deliver them. You also discard cards of a specific type to deliver it. But when you deliver a type, you look at the card. For example, this type here accepts pigs and cattle, and I can drop those off there. And when I do drop them off there, they will stay there, and you can purchase them and actually go drop them off somewhere else, but you have to pay 2 cards for each one you purchase rather than 1 like you normally do. And the costs are different on different cards. You can see here that corn only sells for 2 in that location, while up here at the top it sells for 3. And corn probably is one of the least well-selling things, while pigs, while it's at 3 and 4 there, in some spots, pigs, for example over here, can go all the way up to 5. So there's different goods that you're going around and selling. And so that's basically how the game works. You go back and forth selling the different goods. When one person gets past 30, well, at least in the, a 4-player game, when one person gets past 30, then the game end is triggered. You play out a full set of turns, and whoever has the most points is the winner. Now, I already mentioned that these cards can be turned over, and there's different things that can happen with them. Cost money to go on certain cards. But there's also truck stops. It's called an expansion, which I hope terminology never takes on in the board game world. Adding something extra into a game that is then sold with every game is just, a variant, basically. But these are pretty neat. I like these because you can put them on the outside, and when you land on one, you can pay a specific amount of money, and then it gives you basically a special thing that you can do for the rest of the game, a special ability. Ham radio, tune-up, pallet jack, and each of these has something special that it can do. So that's interesting. You can also change these, flip the cards, there's different setups. But basically, the game is a very simplified pick up cubes from one spot and deliver them to another. The Great Heartland Hauling Company is an interesting game. It's your basic pickup and delivery, but what it's striving to be, I think, is it's trying to be the Ticket to Ride of pickup and delivery games. And I'm not saying that because it has Ticket to Ride card draw rules. Yes, we call it that way. But what I mean is there's a lot of pickup and delivery games out there, but most of them are mean, evil, especially to players who haven't played before. And this game certainly has that. If you fool around in this game at all, if you play it casually at all, you're going to lose to someone who's trying harder because they're going to get their money's worth. But at the same time, because of the card drawing in the game, and you're not really sure what cards you're ever going to draw at any given point in time, the game is a light one. It's a simple one. I mean, I was able to understand this very quickly after playing it just a few minutes of what was going on. This doesn't stop me from getting beat all over the place with this. Knowing where to move, measuring it out, it has a very strong economic game in it. I think that when you flip the cards over and you bring in all the different obstacles and add hardship, I think, or if you play with they have one of these weird setups where it can be very long to get to deliver the different goods, I'm not a big fan of the game at that point because it becomes too tight, too burning, although there certainly is a crowd of people who like that. On the other hand, add in the different special benefits that you can get with the truck stops and such, then I really enjoy it. To me, that adds a lot of flavor to the game. Before it was just picking up cubes, I didn't really think I was picking up pigs or wheat or whatever. I just felt moving pink cubes, yellow cubes. So, it's not quite filler material. It's a little heavier than that. It's a medium game, although it can tilt towards heavy if you play it with very serious players. I enjoy it. I didn't love it, but I was very impressed as I played it. I didn't know what to expect. I saw cubes. I saw a truck, which I thought was cool to move that truck around, pick up stuff. And it certainly is a game I'm not good at, but I have a fun time doing so, especially when we don't play what I would call on the too heavy end of the scale. But the game does have that sliding pendulum that you can make the game as difficult as you want, in a sense, to where you lay the cards. And it also gives you a lot of freedom. You can do what you want, use different things as you want. And there is some Scrooge factor in the game where you can move to a spot where someone else was planning to go, but it's mostly accidental, unintentional when that happens rather than that. But you will find yourself frustrated other players during the game at different points because their truck is where you need to go. So anyhow, an interesting game. Not awfully deep, but has the potential where you could make it deeper, and a really cool theme. The Great Heartland Hauling Company.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find the latest board game news at Dicetowernews.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Fun Again Games, the world's best game source. Fun Again Games has over 5,000 games available. Check them out at funagain.com.
Shut the door.